The gateway flux is slowly approaching Earth. On planet Servant of Universe's abode, Sir Passer watches the flux in the sky. Suddenly, black smoke faded in. The man in black cloak, with red and yellow patterns, he has skeleton hands, stood where the smoke was. Sir Passer commented, "Just as I feared, the servant of the Moniverse. This universe will not suffer the same fate as yours." The servant of Moniverse replied, "We'll see about that, Sir Passer." On Orange Sunset Desert planet, known as Tormia, Ghostface sits on a rock with Grandpent, the snake, who's made of gateway soul, originated from planet Vorton. A spaceship is reconstructed. Ghostface said, "Well then, Grandpent, this ship is almost done. I'll have an army. However, I must be the one to kill Sam. I'm his best enemy." Sam's ship landed outside Discovery Museum in Newcastle on Earth. Sam stormed out of his ship and looked around and said, "Everything's fine. No effect on Earth, with Gateway Portal being angry. The flux will start to break the universe. I might check this museum." So Sam walked inside. He looked at the exhibits. Later, he found a TARDIS museum that resembles William Hartnell's console room. Sam said, "Fantastic. When I turn 80 years old and retire, I could be a curator. I would love to be the curator of this place." Sam scans around the place with his sonic screwdriver. A couple of people were staring at him, and Sam said, "I'm just rehearsing for this upcoming play." So he realizes there's no soul of Gateway. Sam runs out of the museum. Then he looks up in the sky and gets a glimpse of lightning storm, but no rain. Sam said, "The flux is starting to attack." He burst back inside his ship and dematerialized. Sam said, "I'm gonna travel to a lot of universes." Sam flipped the switches. In Ashington, Dan Allen walked out of CEX, the video game and DVD shop. He's got Marvel's Spider-Man 2 PS5 game. He looks up at the stormy sky and said, "This cannot be good." Armstrong Industries building in Blythe, Lee Armstrong ran out of his office as Callie Mainson, Oscar Ward, and Ricky Bennett looked at the computer screen in the main room. Lee joined and said, "Let's have a deeks. That's nae good. It cannot be the weather. I'm going to look outside." Callie said, "That's what PC Gary Tucker said when he phoned us." So Lee ran out of the base into the field. He sees a thunderstorm in the clouds and thought, "It's supposed to be sunny. I've never seen thunder and lightning like that before, at least not on Earth." At the village in Holy Island, Freud, Skellingman, Zarbus and Dise looked at the clouds. Skellingman said, "I never go any further than 2025, but I'm sure Earth can't end. Not now, not like that." Freud replied, "It's not just Earth, it's our universe is at stake." Dise said, "I better report this to my parents." Professor Shawson is in her lab with Repti, Neil, surname formerly Ken, now Stark, Cypher Ripple, and Holly Downing, looking at the supercomputer on the wall. Shawson commented, "That's not an Earth weather. It's some kind of flux of some sort. On planet Sandaloris, inside a hub, Rowan Fendel, Blob Skinner, Anguirus, Frizz, Crispin, and Darlus are about to get ready to leave. They're saying goodbye to Merkin, Rixton, Abel, who's now a small child, and Crispin's father, Anglin." The sound of thunder is heard. Rowan commented, "We better go. Our universe needs us. If flux and or any gateway changes, let me know immediately." Rixton replied, "No problem. Good luck to you all. Please come back here safe." Rowan nodded. Blob said, "Is this going to be like 2 years ago when we faced Lord Vortek?" Rowan answered, "I don't know." but all we can do is try, Frizz said. It's never like us to give up. Crispin hugged Anglin, then Rowan asked, everyone ready? Rowan, Blop, Anguirus, Frizz, Crispin, and Darlis climbed inside Rowan's ship. Merkin said, please, for our sake, fix this universe. New Begin by the Sea, back on Earth, Rebecca Birkinshaw looked outside and said, oh God, this weather isn't normal. Planet Vorton, the Lego minifigures of Batman, Wildstyle, and Gandalf walked to the spacecraft. Batman commented, this universe is in danger. They'll need us. At A1 Road, on Earth, Dan is driving his car. He pressed the button on his phone on the holder attached to the front window. Dan said, damn it, I can't get through to Sam. That storm must have blocked the signal. Looks like Armstrong Industries is my best hope. Sam's ship is in flight at space. Sam looked at the scanner and said, I'll start there. The ship landed in Hill Valley, a western town full of cowboys, horses, and saloons. There's also a courthouse and clock tower. Sam stepped out of his ship and acknowledged he's in Back to the Future world. Sam walked around the town. He recalls picking up the keystone, the similar technology to gateway opener remote he has. Sam makes his way through the town. He noticed few cowboys on horses running away, so Sam runs to see who they're running away from. Army of Nindroids marches. They drew their katana sword with a leather-wrapped hilt, so Sam used his sonic screwdriver to quickly turn his anti-time device on. He fires lasers at lot of Nindroids. Lot of them are down. Doc Emmett Brown and Marty McFly watched in horror. Doc Brown shouted, Great Scott! Marty commented, This fight is heavy. Sam turned around and said, you're here. Marty and Doc, I need you to distract anyone here because I'm going to swing by to the bar and then Sheriff Station. There might be something here that I might need to go and get to help save the world. Can you do that? In Armstrong Industries, Lee commented, Geneva is calling a code red because I got a feeling an army will invade our world. We need to get ready for battle. I cannot get through to Sam. Callie said, at least we still got the air and heat. Oscar asked, why are we talking as though the earth has been moved again? That happened 7 years ago. It ain't happened this time. It's the flux that's attacking us. Dan Allen walked in and shouted, Lee, it's me, Dan. Ricky asked, who is he? Oscar said, excuse me, this is Gold Security Establishment. Not even Prime Minister is allowed here. Lee said, it's our Reed, it's Dan. He's a friend to me and Sam. Have you heard from him like? Dan said, nah, which is why I came to see you, Lee. If I can't find Sam, you're my last hope. Callie said, the computer has confirmed it. The Gateways is opening soon. It'll be right across the universe. We're facing an army. Inside Freud's house in Holy Island, Zetron the robot, with touchpads on both hands, said, Freud, I have scanned the flux, and there's incoming gateways. Freud asked, any words from Sam? Disa and Zobus shook their heads. Skellingman walked in and said, Dr. Centrix is building weapons for us, but she doesn't think she can do anything about the flux. Freud thought, this is bad. So Freud switches on the TV. He pressed few buttons on the machine. Professor Shawson, Repti, Neil and Cypher are on screen. Freud asks, have you found any help that you can get? Shawson commented, no such luck, I'm afraid. Neil said, I phoned my friends from Geek Retreats to tell them to stay indoors. Repti said, the portals are coming. We're going to expect the multiverse war on planet Earth. Rebecca Birkinshaw is at home in the sitting room watching BBC News Live and said, Stewie, come and watch the news. They're talking about destructive mass. Did you find Sam? Stewie Burke, Sam's stepdad, replied, No, Becky, I tried. I hope he's okay. In Newcastle Street, there's people panicking and running. Rowan has landed his ship. The door slid open. Roaring, Blop, Anguirus, Frizz, Crispin, and Darlus climbed out. Rowan said, "It's all right. People of the earth, we come in peace. Help is on the way." Blop asks, "What are we doing on planet Earth?" Rowan replied, "We'll need to find a base first." So Rowan and his team walked into Newcastle Street, searching the buildings. Anguirus pointed at the CEX shop, and Rowan thought, "Perfect." So Rowan opened the door and said, "I think someone's here." He noticed Batman, Wildstyle, and Gandalf are at the desk. Rowan is baffled to see them there. In Hill Valley, Sam ran back to his ship and said, "No sign of Gateway Soul. Damn it. I even risk my life here. Thanks for the help, Doc and Marty. I'll see yous later." Sam stepped inside his ship. He pressed the button. His ship faded away. While Sam grabs onto the console, Sir Passer appeared. "Sam, your world is in grave danger." Sam replied, "Thanks, Sir Passer. I got the hint. I'm busy trying to find souls of gateways as fast as I can." Sir Passer said, "I know, but beware of Moni, the servant of the Moniverse." Sam was horrified and confused. He said, "He can't be. There's not much to serve since Moniverse has been destroyed years ago." Sir Passer replied, "That's just it. He's looking for revenge for what happened to his world. He will kill you." Sam said, "But that was Ghostface. He did it." Sir Passer said, "Moni will believe you did it. Another thing to mention, if all the souls are destroyed and all universes go back to normal, franchise characters will forget the whole thing. The history will go back in place." Sam commented, "It sounds promising. How do I stop him?" Sir Passer faded away. Sam thought, "Thanks for all the help." Right, almost there. Sam's ship landed in Lego Gotham City. Sam walked out of his ship. He runs down the street. Lego Superman flew down, followed by Lego Wonder Woman and Flash. Sam explains the situation. After that, Joker's goons and Daleks showed up. Sam asked, "Where's Batman?" Wonder Woman replied, "He's at Vorton in your world." Superman shouted, "Alert the rest of Justice League. This is a serious emergency." Wonder Woman and Flash battles Joker's goons. Flash said, "If I see the Joker, I'll race him to laughter." Sam fires his anti-time device at the Daleks as they're shouting, "Exterminate! Exterminate!" Superman shoots his heat vision at the Daleks, which destroyed them. After the battle, Sam, Superman, Wonder Woman and the Flash ran to the amusement park. Joker and Lex Luthor are standing there. Superman said, "Give it up, Luthor. You and Joker won't stand a chance." Joker laughed and said, "You so-called heroes are so funny. Sam, my dear Sammy." Sam shouted, "Don't call me Sammy." Lex asked, "Did we say we're alone?" There was a sound of marching. Catwoman, Darkseid, Rossal Girl, Deathstroke, Trickster, Sinestro, Bane and Brainiac showed up, ready to fight. Sam thought, "That's not good." Aquaman came and said, "We should be fine as long as there's more of us." He's followed by Green Lantern, Shazam, Hawkman and Green Arrow. So Sam and Justice League have started to battle the villains. In Daily Planet, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen stared out the window, wondering where Clark Kent has gone to. Perry White shouted, "Lane, Olsen, any sign of Mr. Kent?" Lois replied, "No, sorry." Suddenly, the window smashed. General Zod walked in and shouted, "Kneel before Zod." In the Batcave, Robin asked Alfred Pennyworth about Bruce Wayne's whereabouts. Alfred has no idea. Back at the amusement park, the battle is still going. Commissioner Jim Gordon and Gotham Police Department cars pulled over, raising their guns. Suddenly, interdimensional hole appears, surrounding the amusement park. Sam and the Justice League are inside. They see a lot of multiverse opening. Sam got a glimpse of John Wesley's ship's The Flash running in a chronoball in his world, right next to Jason Ballantyne's Jay Garrick does the same in his world. Sam noticed Christopher Reeve's Superman and Helen Slater's Supergirl watching the multiverse collapsing, while Ben Affleck's Batman, Henry Cavill's Superman, George Reeves' Superman, and Linda Carter's Wonder Woman looking to see what's going on. Sam walked towards David Cornsweat's Superman and said, "You've just started your show. I'll try and fix your world." Michael Keaton's Batman, Adam West's Batman, and Burt Ward's Robin showed up. Sam walked towards Nicolas Cage's Superman and said, "I've hardly seen you in action." Cesar Romero's Joker, Jack Nicholson's Joker, and Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor stepped in. Aquaman asks, "What's happening?" Flash replied, "I think it's the multiverse." Wonder Woman said, "Not good." Sam said, "Keep fighting those foes. No killing them. Leave it with me." Sam ran off. Commissioner Gordon shouted, "Hey, can you—" Sam interrupted, saying, "I haven't got time for statement, Gordon." Sam makes his way through Gotham Street. He stepped back inside his ship and dematerialized it. In Jurassic World 2022, Dr. Ian Malcolm is working in Biosyn. Sam's ship appeared behind the tree. Sam walked out of the ship. He dug through the mud. He realizes he's in Tyrannosaurus Rex Kingdom, so Sam uses his sonic screwdriver to scan around, but there was no sign of Gateway Saul. Suddenly, there was a sound of big stomp coming closer and closer. T-Rex roared. Sam quickly ran back inside his ship and disappeared away. Meanwhile, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler inside a plane are about to land at Isla Nublar. Sam is in his ship, press few buttons. Suddenly, the ship goes bumpy and tilts. The console sparks. Sam sees Moni standing there saying, "I know what you did to the Moniverse." Then he disappears. Sam was feeling uneasy. Ghostface and Grandpent are inside a spaceship. Ghostface comments, "I can space travel at last. The portal is opening soon, Grandpent, so I can multiverse travel again." Somewhere in space, Dalek saucer is flying by, and inside are 4 Daleks. One of them said, "Daleks will be the masters of the multiverse." Davros asked, "Any news of the Doctor or Sam?" The Red Supreme Dalek said, "No news of the 2 enemies yet." Batman, Wildstyle, Gandalf, Rowan and his team are still inside the CEX shop, looking at the screens. There was a sound of boom coming from the outside. Rowan opened the door. He sees a gateway portal in the sky, Dalek saucer flying by, shooting at the buildings, followed by cyber warships and TIE fighters. Rowan ran back to the desk and saying, "They're here." PC Gary Tucker burst inside Armstrong Industries building, saying, "The spaceships are landing any moment. Get your weapons ready." Dan, Lee, Callie, Oscar and Ricky grabs their blasters, aiming for the door. Oscar commented, "The guns we normally use won't work against the Daleks." Callie replied, "Yeah, well, I'm fighting. Like Nadia? Like Norval." Suddenly, the door broke into pieces. The Daleks, Cybermen, Stormtroopers are inside, shooting at the place. Lee shouted, "Open fire!" So Dan, Gary, Lee and his team fired their guns at the enemies. 2 of the computer screens have been cracked. Sam is in his ship. He said, "I got it. I know who to call." He landed his ship inside Ghostbusters Firehouse. Janine Melnitz looked up all confused. Sam walked out. Janine asked, "What do you want?" Sam replied, "I need to see the guys. I need their help." Egon Spengler walked downstairs asking, "What the hell is going on? Sam, is everything okay?" Sam replied, "Egon, thank God. There's this servant of the other universe. It's hard to explain. Basically, he's after me for revenge. I need your help. Ray Stans, Winston Zeddemore, and Peter Venkman came downstairs as well, wondering what Sam was talking about. Meanwhile, Daleks had broken into Professor Shawson's lab, so Holly and Cypher took cover behind the desks. Shawson and Neil fired their guns at the Daleks, Repty shooting with his green laser eyes, Daleks flying around Holy Island, so Freud, Skellingman, Dece, Sarbus, Dr. Centrix, Parsey, and Lorvar are firing their blasters at them. Few of the Daleks fell. Cybermen are marching down. Freud shouted, "Cybermen incoming!" Rowan sees the Daleks outside the shop, so he fires his blaster at them, and their tops got exploded. Rowan said, "Right, I'm gonna see if I can find Sam. Will you be alright here?" Block replied, "Yes, we'll be fine. Someone has got to keep watch. Be careful, Rowan. There's still a battle in Armstrong Industries building. Dan, Lee, Gary, Callie, Oscar and Ricky have got inside Lee's office as they're cornered." Dalek shouted, "Exterminate!" Suddenly, Gary is screaming. He got exterminated. Callie shouted, "No!" Lee fired his blaster and the Daleks have been destroyed. Callie cried over Gary's body while Ricky hugs her. Lee said, "I'm sorry, Callie. There's naught we can do." Oscar said, "I'll inform Gary's family." Dan said, "I'm sorry for your loss. You seem canny." In Ghostbusters World, Ecto 1 pulled over in the Central Park at night. Sam and the Ghostbusters got out the car. They got their weapons ready as they march, and suddenly Monty appears and said, "Sam, we meet at last." Ray said, "Fascinating." Sam said, "You must be Monty, the servant of Moniverse." Winston asks, "The servant of what now?" Egon explained, "He's not from our universe. His universe must have been destroyed and somehow he survived it." Sam asks, "How did you survive after the destruction?" Monty said, "When you destroyed my worlds, the gateway took me away. I was suspended for a long time, and then I encounter Serpassa, the servant of your world." Peter Venkman said, "So that ugly servant thing from another reality came to kill you because you vandalized his home, Sam? What do you expect?" Sam replied, "Oh, you're so funny, Venkman. No, I didn't destroy your universe, Monty. Ghostface did it. Well, I walked into my ship after when it happened." Monty asks, "What about my 3 soldiers that were after you, including a traitor?" Sam replied, "Oh, you mean, I'm sorry, but they died. Again, not by me. Dark Cloak was killed by Intello, then Captain Heartland killed Intello and Firepower." Monty said, "To pay for his crimes, you will suffer." Ray shouted, "Blast him!" So Sam fires his anti-time device, while the Ghostbusters fire their proton stream at Monty, who's screaming. The proton stream destroyed him. Ray commented, "That wasn't such a chore now, was it?" Sam asks, "Can anyone give me a lift back to the firehouse, as I need to get back to my ship?" Egon replied, "Yeah, no problem." Sam and the Ghostbusters heard a familiar laugh. They looked up, Slimer flew down and slimed Venkman. Sam tried not to laugh, and Venkman said, "This is not good for my reputation." In Newbegin Street, at night, Daleks moves around, Becky and Stewie peering with terror from around the side of a house. Becky quietly said, "Stewie, let's go home. They're not touching our street." Stewie replied, "Yeah, I need to make sure Sam is okay." Becky replied, "I'm sure he will. I know what he's capable of. Please, come home. I think I'm Doctor Who out." So they both hurry around the back of the house to get back home. Suddenly, Dalek is at the back garden saying, "Halt, you are Sam's parents. You will be exterminated. Exterminate." Suddenly, the whole top half of the Dalek is blown off. Rowan Fendel lowered his blaster. Becky said, "Thank you, who are you?" Rowan replied, "I'm Rowan Fendel. agent of universe. Are you Sam's family? Becky and Stewie nodded. Rowan said, I may need you. I'm certain that Sam is alive. Sam is in Bricksburg looking for a gateway soul. He noticed the portals, so he steps through and he's in Cloud Cuckoo Land. He sees Unikitty, so she approaches him, and Sam said, Hello Unikitty, remember me? Sorry, my world is at stake. Unikitty said, There's no negative here in Cloud Cuckoo Land. Sam sighed. So then he eventually went to the Old West. He searches around, but then gets chased by cowboys and robo-swats. So Sam hurries through the portal back into Bricksburg. He ran back to his ship with robo-swats led by Bad Cop not far behind. President Business is in his office, wondering who the cops were chasing. Sam ran back inside his ship. Ghostface is flying in his ship. He switched on the scanner, and Davros appeared on screen. Ghostface commented, I believe we never had the pleasure, Davros. I am Sam's best enemy. Davros replied, You remind me of the Master. Ghostface said, I'm flattered. We can work together, take over the world. I will kill Sam. How does that sound? Sam is in the woods, in Legend of Chima World. He had a brief conversation with Lavelle, so he walked back to his ship, knowing that Soul Object isn't in that world. Battle on Holy Terry has stopped. There's fire and pieces of Cybermen and Daleks everywhere. Freud said, We're okay for now, let's get back inside. So Freud, Skellingman, Dise and Zorbus got back inside the village. House, Parsay and Lorva sat on the sofa. Zetron confirmed there's no more enemies nearby. The fight in Shawson's lab has won. Neil said, Thank God we're still alive. Are you okay, Repty? Repty replied, Acceptable. Holly and Cypher are okay as well. Professor Shawson typed on the computer to keep an eye out for any more invaders. Inside Aperture Science Enrichment Center, Sam destroys a couple of sentry turret with his anti-time device, so he sonics around to look for the object, and then GLaDOS shows up saying, Oh, it's you again. Sam said, Nothing changes. Still pretty cheeky. Sam runs off. He storms back inside his ship and dematerialized it. Back in New Begin, Becky explains to Rowan that she has tried calling Sam, but there is no reply. Rowan said, Last time I saw Sam, we were fighting stormtroopers on a planet called Vorton about 7 months ago. Becky replied, Yeah, he went missing in a universe far away for 3 months, and he came back on Christmas. Stewie asks, What are you two talking about? Becky explained, Sam fights aliens and monsters. He flies around in his ship. He's been doing that for the last decade. You probably don't believe me, Stewie said. After what we have the last decade, Becky, nothing surprises me anymore. Rowan asks, What happened to any army on this planet? Becky said, It's said in the news that Daleks, Cybermen and Stormtroopers have targeted them. The TV screen suddenly switched itself on, and a male voice is heard. Rowan said, This could be important. Alex, Sam's brother, came in and said, Thank God I'm home. Who's this? Becky replied, A friend of Sam. So then Aidan, who helped Sam fight Liquid Trial at Gateshead during the last meeting, makes contact. Aidan says, I'm glad I managed to get through. Rowan asks, Who are you? Aidan introduced himself. Meanwhile, Skellingman is guarding the village in Holy Island, and inside Freud's house, Aidan makes contact. Dise asks, Who's that? Freud replied, Someone's calling for help. Aidan said, This is important. Zetron replied, Perhaps you want to reply to message, Freud. Aidan makes contact in Shawson's lab. Repty said, We better answer it. Shawson replied, Good idea. Aidan contacts Armstrong Industries as well. Callie asks, Who's that? Lee answered, Just leave it, Callie. The whole world is calling for help. There's nothing we can do. Aidan replied, "For God's sake, Lee, since when do you ever give up?" Lee looked at the screen and asks, "Who's that?" Aidan said, "I'm Aidan. I used to help Sam. Everyone can hear me? Let's see if we can talk to each other." Aidan types on the computer, and 6 images come up on 6 equal parts of the screen. Aidan, Rowan, Lee, Freud, Shawson with Repti in the same room, and Blop with Rowan's team. Stewie said, "Is that Lee and Dan? Who are those people? What kind of friends Sam are making here?" Aidan said, "I think we should all meet, given something big is happening." Lee said, "I've admired your work on Alien Greys and Stormtroopers, Freud. Nice one." Freud replied, "Thank you. I would love to say the same to you, but too much for children." Lee said, "All the same." Rowan said, "I'm glad you're still okay, Blop, and the rest." Blop said, "Yeah, there hasn't been any signs of foes after you've left." Batman said, "We're still keeping an eye out." Repti said, "We've taken many Daleks, Cybermen and Stormtroopers down, but there will be more in a matter of time." Lee asks, "Does anyone have great weapons that can destroy Daleks?" Blob said, "Yeah, we have blasters that can take them down." Aidan said, "Good, we all need to do this. Find Sam." Becky said, "I've been trying to find him. I can't get through." Freud said, "Same here." Aidan said, "The more of us, the better. Bring us all together." So then Lee commented, "If we all use our devices together, boosting the signal, and then," Dc added, "link up all the phones." And Lee replied, "Nice, who's he?" And Freud answered, "He's called Dc, and that's Zarbus. They're part of my team." Oscar asks, "What if there's more coming?" Aidan answered, "If Sam comes, we're all together, there's good chances that our world can be saved. Enough with talk, let's get to action." Aidan types on his computer. Professor Shawson pressed view buttons on her computer. Repti said, "All teleport networks combined." Freud, Dc, Zarbus got Zetron to call for Sam. So Freud said, "Come on, Sam." In CEX, Blop, Anguirus, Frizz, Crispin, Dallas, Batman, Wildstyle and Gandalf uses the phones they can find. Rowan, Becky, Stewie and Alex dialed away on their phones. Callie and Ricky typed on the computer. Oscar plugs in the cable, and Lee pressed the button. Oscar said, "It's going to be Happy Days." Dan looked at him with a glare and said, "You cheeky lad, you stole something I see." Sam is standing inside his ship. Despondently, the scanner went static, so Sam pressed the button and his friends appeared on screen. Aidan said, "Finally got you." Lee asks, "Where the hell have you been, Sam? The Daleks have been attacking." Freud replied, "It's not just Daleks, there's Cybermen." Repti added, "And Stormtroopers." Blob said, "The portals are opening all over the sky." Becky shouted, "Sam, thank God, you're okay." Sam commented, "Freud, Zarbus, and who's that friend of yours?" "Repti and the Professor." "Wow, Aidan, you never told me you're working for Armstrong Industries, Dan." "And Rowan, what are you doing at my mum's house?" "Wow, I do have clever people in my life." Meanwhile, in Dalek Saucer, one of the Daleks said, "Communications detect." Davros said, "Put me through. I want to speak to Sam." Ghostface and Grandpent are in a spaceship. Ghostface said on the communicator, "I tried to tell you that Sam has an army." Sam tells his friends on screen saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't pick up. I had to visit many universes because there's something we need to find. Gateway Soul objects. It may help us save our world, and the flux must have blocked the signal." Suddenly, the screen went static. Again, Sam pressed the button. Davros and Ghostface appears on screen. Sam was shocked. Davros said, "Welcome to the new era, Sam." Ghostface said, "I'm sure you remember our good friend, Davros." Sam commented, "I wonder if you'd survive, Davros. During the Universe War, you looks like you were devoured by Gargantus." I tried saving you, Davros replied, but there is a portal. Sam said, I will get you, Ghostface. Don't forget. Sam cuts the transmission. In Armstrong Industries building, Lee picked up his weapons and said, I have to go and find Sam. I'll be back for yous. Dan, look after the team. Dan replied, no problem, happy days. Then he smiled at Oscar, and Callie said, we'll be okay. Oscar said, don't worry about us. Lee ran out of the base. Ricky looked at the computer, saying, the fleet is coming. Lee stepped inside the black van. He started the engine and drove onto the Blythe Road. Freud was about to climb inside his freighter. Skellingman said, there could be Cybermen and Daleks out there. Freud replied, I know, but I must find Sam. You must stay here. Deesay said, we'll look after each other. Freud stepped inside his freighter. The engine turns on and the ship flies off. Rowan is about to open the door and said, I'll have to go. You're more in danger with me because I'm well known in this universe. I will keep this planet protected. Wish me luck. Becky and Alex said, good luck. Stewie said, make sure Sam's okay. In Dalek Saucer, the Supreme Dalek orders Daleks to prepare for battle. Davros said, I have been looking forward to this. Cyber warship is arriving down to Earth in England. Inside, there's Cyber Leader and 2 Cybermen. The leader ordered to upgrade the civilization. If there are views, delete them. Sam's ship landed outside of Newcastle Central train station. Sam walked out and said, Lee and Freud were saying that this planet has been attacked already. The black van pulled over at the car park and the engine is off. Lee got out. Sam hugged him. So then the freighter landed. Freud got out. And Sam said, there's 2 more souls of Gateway to find. One of them is with Ghostface, who might come to Earth, but I don't know where the other one is, apart from that apparently it's well guarded. I need your help. Lee and Freud accepted the offer to help. So the trio got inside Sam's ship. So then Sam pressed the button, which disappeared his ship away. Lee asks, which one are we starting like? Sam replied, maybe this one. Sam's ship appeared inside Mines of Moria on Middle Earth. Sam, Lee and Freud walked out. Lee asks, where are we? Sam replied, Mines of Moria on Middle Earth. It's the world of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits. Freud commented, Middle Earth? I remember Skellingman saying he visited here once. Sam said, yes, this place was abandoned during the Third Age after excavations accidentally released a Balrog. Let's find this object, but watch out for orcs or trolls. Me and Skellingman encountered them last time we were here. Suddenly, army of Mordor orcs and Nindroids are charging. Sam shouted, we got company! Sam, Lee and Freud fires their weapons at them. After they're all down, Sam, Lee and Freud looked at every corners and behind the rock, but no sign of item. Sam said, I should have known. It would have been too easy for my liking. I already did find a soul here. I can't see why they'd place another here. Come on, bit of a waste of time. Back at Armstrong Industries, Dan has found Dark Grey's sword and asked, what is it? Oscar said, be careful. That's very dangerous, very deadly. Callie explained, it's a powerful sword that can destroy Gateway souls. It will kill anyone with just one scratch. Dan said, this weapon is good enough for me. Sam, Lee and Freud arrived in Coin-Op Arcade in Midway Arcade World. They played a couple of games and fighting Manti Landers, demons, grunts, ghosts and brains. After that, Sam claims to game a kid that he's doing a routine check. The trio got back in the ship, took off and landed in Master Chen's arena. Sam fought against Anacontri, cultist and Mordor orcs. He couldn't find Gateway Soul, so he got back inside his ship. He took off again. On the yellow brick road, in the Wizard of Oz world, Dorothy Gale, Scarecrow, Tin Man and Cowardly Lion sang "We're Off to See the Wizard, the Wonderful Wizard of Oz." Meanwhile, inside the potion room, in a castle, Sam shot a couple of flying monkeys with his anti-time device. He looks through the viral and under the table, but no sign of Soul. Suddenly, Wicked Witch of the West burst in and shouted, "So, you think you can just come in here, uninvited, and get away with it, do you? You won't even escape with your life." Sam replied, "Yes, actually," so he ran inside his ship and pressed the button. The witch was stunned when she watched it disappear, and she said, "That cursed brat with his box of magic tricks." At night, in Rainy Spooky House, the mystery machine pulled over. Fred Jones, Daphne Blake, Vilma Dinkley, Shaggy Rogers, and Scooby-Doo got out the vehicle. They got past the gate and to the door of the house. Fred said, "Right, gang, this is it." Daphne asks, "Are you sure there's a ghost mummy in there?" Velma replied, "Well, a man thinks he has seen it." Shaggy said, "Zoinks!" Scooby said, "Oh dear." The Mystery Inc. opened the door and walked inside. Sam's ship landed in an attic. Sam, Lee, and Freud walked out. Lee said, "I might like this universe 'cause there's nae real monsters here, just people in masks." Sam said, "Maybe we should split up and search for the gateway soul." Freud and Lee searched around at the furniture in the attic. Sam walked downstairs, down to the corridor, walked into Shaggy and Scooby. So Scooby said, "Hey, Ram." Shaggy asks, "Like Sam, what are you doing here, buddy?" Sam answered, "Sorry guys, it's just a quick visit, I hope. I'm searching for this dark blue object with light blue patterns. Have you seen anything like that?" Shaggy and Scooby scared because a group of mummy warriors are behind Sam, so he turned around and said, "Run." Sam, Shaggy and Scooby ran away while the warriors are chasing them. Meanwhile, Lee and Freud couldn't find anything and agreed to go back inside Sam's ship. So they did. Eventually, Sam came in and said, "Still no sign of it, let's go." Sam's ship disappeared. Inside the Simpsons' house, Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie Simpson are sitting at the table, eating breakfast. There was a knock on the door. Homer stood up. He answered the door and said, "Hey, I know you." Sam said, "Yes, it's me, Sam. This is Lee and Freud. I need to ask a favour. Can you drive us to the power plant?" Homer had a thought and said, "No." And then Sam said, "I'll give you lots of donuts." Homer likes the idea and tells Marge he's forgotten something at work. So Marge tells Homer not to be long. So Sam, Homer, Lee and Freud got inside the pink sedan. Homer drove off. Bart wondered who it was at the door. Lisa got a bit suspicious. Eventually, Homer parks the car at the car parking lot at the power plant. So Homer, Sam, Freud and Lee got inside, and there was micromanagers and robo-SWAT inside. Homer screamed. Sam shot them dead with his anti-time device, while Mr. Burns sees it on CCTV, believed that Sam brought them there. Later, Sam and Lee grabbed cola and big box of donuts from the Quickie Mart. They put them in the boot, then got back inside Homer's sedan. Homer said, "Thank you, Sam, I really like you. Where did you get that gun?" Sam answered, "My dad gave it to me on my birthday." Homer was confused and said, "Your dad gave you a real laser gun for your birthday? You should ask him why he gave it to you." Sam has a thought. In Newcastle, Rowan got back to Blop, Anguirus, Frizz, Crispin, Darlis, Batman, Wildstyle and Gandalf outside the CEX shop. Rowan said, "Everything's okay. Time to get ready for battle." Sam's ship parked outside the flat at the estate. Sam said, "This is it. Is anyone coming with me?" Lee and Freud nodded, so the trio stepped out of Sam's ship. Lee knocked on the door. Then Stu Birkinshaw, Sam's dad, opened the door. He only sees Lee and Freud, so he asks, "Hello, Lee, is that you? Who is this?" You brought an alien at my door? Sam barged through, in front, and said, "Hi Dad, it's all right. This is Freud, he's a friend. Can we come in?" So Stu invited Sam, Lee and Freud in. The door closed. Sam took both his black boots off. Lee takes his Nike trainers off. Everyone walked up the stairs, into the sitting room. Sam, Freud and Lee sat on the sofa. Stu asks, "Would anyone like a drink?" Sam and Lee ask for a cup of tea. Freud doesn't want any. Stu boils the kettle. Then after he made 2 cups of tea and 1 coffee, he gave Sam and Lee tea. Stu sat down at his desk with a computer on. He placed a cup of coffee on the coaster. Everyone took a sip of their own drinks. So Stu asked, "How can I help you, Sam?" Sam said, "Well, Dad, it's about this toy gun that you gave to me on my 15th birthday, the anti-time device." He shows his anti-time device. Stu stood up to take a look and said, "Ah, yes, I remember." Sam asked, "Do you know anything about it, like its backstory and how you found it?" Stu sat back down to his chair and said, "I don't know much about it, I'm afraid. I thought you would know more, as you're a Doctor Who fan." Sam replied, "Yes, I am. It never appeared on the show, and I just wondered what you'd know when you found it." Stu answered, "Well, I was having a walk in Plesley Woods, and then I found a silver box near the road. I thought the delivery van dropped it or something. The anti-time device was in there. Because it looked Doctor Who-y, I thought, it's a cool looking toy. Sam would love it. That's his birthday sorted." Freud asks, "Have you seen anything before it?" Sam added, "Anything unusual?" Stu said, "No, not really. Although I did see a blue light for a second in the woods before I found that thing, but I thought it was emergency service, like a police or ambulance." Sam and Lee looked at each other. Sam said, "Thanks for the information. Also, thanks for the gun, even though I already did thank you for it on my birthday." Stu was confused. Sam stood up and said, "Dad, I'm a multiverse traveller. I saved the world. This gun that you gave me is actually a weapon." In Dalek Saucer, Davros comments, "Sam will always care for his precious human allies, just like the Doctor." Supreme Dalek orders the Daleks to go to the location, Armstrong Industries, Holy Island, Shawson Slab, and Newcastle. Sam explained to his dad, "If it wasn't for me, this gun, and my friends, there wouldn't be anyone alive. I've saved lives so many times for the last decade. We've stopped enemies, including the ones from franchise, like Cybermen, Daleks, Stormtroopers, Orcs, Joker, etc. With this weapon." Stu was fascinated what he heard and said, "Wow, you saving the world." Sam said, "I'll prove it. Look at the footage on your phone. Your camera should pick up how I arrived." So Stu sees the footage of Sam's ship materialized outside of his house. Then he sees Sam, Lee and Freud walked out. So Stu said, "I was wondering about that blue shed thing, because it wasn't there a moment ago." Sam opened the window. He shot his anti-time device in the sky, and Stu said, "Whoa! All this time, I gave you a weapon on your birthday? So that's why it was in a satellite. It's an alien weapon from a Doctor Who world. So all this is true? I thought it was just the government and the army that deals with all this, but you, my son, meets aliens and saves the world. So that must have been why I gave you that weapon. I'm so proud of you, son." Sam said, "All in a day's work? I would love to stay longer. I think you sort of answered the question where I got my anti-time device. Thanks, Dad." Sam, Freud and Lee ran down the stairs. Sam puts his boots back on. Lee puts his Nike trainers back on. The trio stormed out and got back inside Sam's ship. Stu watches the ship faded away and said, "Good luck, Sam." In Freud's house, Zetron said, "I have detected incoming fleet." So Skellingman, Dise, Zarbus, Dr. Centrix, Parsay and Lorva got their blasters ready. Skellyman commented, "Daleks, Cybermen, and other foes can come and get us, but they will not take us down." In Shawson's lab, Professor Shawson, Neil, Holly, and Cypher have their guns ready, and Repty said, "They're here." Sam's ship landed on a street corner in London. It was daytime. Sam, Lee, and Freud walked out, noticing where they are. Lee asks, "Sam, are you for real? This is London, hardly out of our world." Sam answered, "It's London, yes, but not our London, as well as not our Earth." TARDIS materialized in front of them. The 15th Doctor opened the door and said, "Come in, Sam." So Sam, Lee, and Freud walked inside the TARDIS. Lee thought, the inside looks nice, as it's white and grey, with all round things lights on. There's ramps, a big white console in the middle of the room, and a jukebox at the corner. The Doctor jokingly asks, "So, Lee Armstrong, are you related to Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon?" Lee laughed, saying, "You're funny." The Doctor turns around to Sam and asks, "What do you think?" Sam replied, "Reminds me of that corridor from the X-Men films." The Doctor said, "Excuse me, this is a classic. You'll remember this, Warrior." Ice Warrior showed up and said, "Sam, it's good to see you again." Sam replied, "Lindell, and you too. Okay, Doctor, just to give you heads up, Davros is in my world. I need to know something. Do you know anything about my anti-time device?" Sam showed its weapon. The Doctor explains, "Ah yes, the gun you always carry. I still don't approve, especially what kind of technology you have." The Doctor placed anti-time device on the console and looked at the scanner. He turned around and explained to Sam, "Time Lords made that weapon during the last Great Time War. It's a hybrid technology unit, anti-time device, using parts of a Dalek, Cyberman, and Weeping Angel. The laser material is beyond me." Sam added, "Maybe parts of proton pack, which is why the stone finger inside is boiling hot." The Doctor said, "Yes, then the gateway portal must have appeared on Gallifrey, and the Time Lords must have threw this thing into it." And Sam said, "Which eventually ended up in my universe and picked up by my own father. There's other thing, the soul of gateway objects, that keeps the dimensional vortex open. We've been hunting them. I think Black Archive might have one. Can you take me there?" The Doctor answered, "Not exactly. If it's that serious, I can phone Kate Stewart. In Holy Island, Cybermen, Daleks, Stormtroopers, Mordor Orcs, Flying Monkeys, Sentry Turrets, and Nin Droids start attacking. Skellyman and the team fired their guns at them. London has been invaded by Cybermen. Repty shoots his lasers. Professor Shawson, Neil, Cypher, and Holly are using their blasters." There was a sound of stomp. Neil was wondering what it was. Shawson suspected that it's not good. Cyber King, a Dreadnought-class ship, is marching down. Repty said, "This is bad." Outside of Armstrong Industries building, Dan raised the sword while Callie, Oscar, and Ricky pointed their guns as Cybermen, Daleks, Stormtroopers, Mordor Orcs, Flying Monkeys, Sentry Turrets, and then droids invading the field. In Newcastle, Batman, Wildstyle, Gandalf, Rowan, and his team are shooting their blasters at the Daleks. Sam, Lee, Freud, Lindell, the Doctor, and Kate Stewart walked inside the Black Archive, and inside is full of Hooniverse gadgets, including Genesis Arc, 2 paintings. One of them is Gallifrey Falls No More, and the other is TARDIS Exploded, painted by Vincent van Gogh. Head of Omega, Cyberman helmet, Dalek dome, big picture of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart on the wall, Bessie, the yellow motor car, 2 of Osgood boxes, adipose pill, vortex manipulator, space-time telegraph, a chair from the Naismith mansion, clockwork droid face mask, Centauran blaster, Maya, battle helmet, and a border full of photos of the Doctor's past companions. Sam looks around to find the object he's looking for. The Doctor said, "I gave Kate's father, Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, a space-time telegraph in case for emergencies. The time, age and vortex manipulator was donated by Captain Jack Harkness." Sam's sonic screwdriver makes a strange beeping sound. Kate said, "Nice screwdriver." Sam said, "Thank you. The sonic knows the clue, but it can't fully pick up. The soul isn't here. We have to get out of here." Sam, Lee, Freud, Lindell, Doctor and Kate got out the Black Archive into London. Suddenly, a Dalek fires a laser at the wall near the group. Kate said, "Feeding time at the zoo. Alert all unit. Code red. I repeat, code red." So she takes her gun out. The Doctor and Sam shouted, "Run!" So the group runs through the street. A group of aliens and monsters advance on them, including Cybermen, Daleks, Autons, the Silents, K1, Weeping Angels, Clockwork Droids, Ice Warriors, Silurians, Zygons, and Patings. Sam, Lee, Freud, Lindell, Doctor and Kate ran to the TARDIS. Kate said, "My unit soldiers are here." So the vans parked up, and unit soldiers pointed their guns at the aliens. Suddenly, Jadoon marched down, and the Doctor said, "That's no good. I have to stay and make sure Jadoon doesn't hurt innocent lives. You know how brutal they are. Go back to the ship. I'll be there as soon as I can." Sam said, "Thanks, Doctor." While there's a war on at London, Sam, Lee, Lindell and Freud got back to Sam's ship. Sam pressed the button and the ship dematerialized. The Doctor and Kate ran towards the computer bank in the middle of the road, and the Roger Delgado's master shows up. Kate commented, "That's the incarnation of the master my father faced back in the 70s, or was it the 80s? The master said, "You're all going on a long journey, Doctor." Jadoon and unit soldiers fire their guns at the monsters and aliens. Inside Sam's ship, Lee asks, "How did all that Trenzalore and franchise crossing over started like? Maybe it could help us find a soul." Sam replied, "I'm not sure if it will, but I'm happy to read a story of it. I have a book in the library. Give me a minute." So Sam ran to the wall. A hatch opens, and the other side is a corridor with shiny bronze walls, ceiling and the floor. Sam ran through the corridor into the library. Sam grabbed a dark brown book that reads "The Tales of the Explorer" from the shelf in the library. Then he walks back to the console room. Sam sat on the chair, while Freud, Lee and Lindell sat on the bed. Sam opened the book. He gave a little cough and began to read. There was once an explorer who was from planet Trenzalore, not to be confused Trenzalore in Hooniverse. Explorer was the first Trenzian to space travel. He explores other worlds and galaxies. Explorer landed in a planet of blue crystals, contains gateway portals. Vorton. There was an accident. Explorer falls off the cliff and died. 2 people from that world, Borwin and Scarvo, tries to help him, but there was nothing they can do. The Explorer resurrected himself back to life. They were fascinated by it. Explorer confirms he and his race have 10 lives. So he meets a tyrannical sorcerer called Vortechius, Vortal, Vortec. The Explorer makes a deal with Vortechius. If he gives Explorer the power of dimensions, his race won't interfere. They will only have to observe and pick up knowledge. Vortechius agrees with the deal, so Explorer returned to Trenzalore with the power. Explorer was also a scientist. He studies the spaceship, but it's not a vehicle, it's a license to move. The very essence of transport, born of the fiery thought of travel and movement. They're complex machines. The nature of their construction was such that they were said to be grown machines. The nature of their construction was such that they were said to be grown from seeds from Vorton, so eventually a lot of ships were grown. People discovered the machine to travel through multiverse as well as space. People misuses the ships disgracefully. They set up the games and kidnap other beings, but the people got executed, knocking off every of their lives. Vortechius wasn't happy and became a threat, but the planet was already defended. The Council restricts the travels to a different universe. Explorer became the president of Trenzilor. He puts a stop to the misuses of technology. The civilizations are renamed as Trenzilords. Explorer had become the founder. Sam closed the book. Freud asks, "Does Marcella have anything to do with the Explorer?" Sam said, "Yes, that Explorer in the story is Marcella, the founder of Trenzilords, and the Epic of Gilgamesh world as the first Earth franchise evolved, as it's the first book ever written, as far as I've known. Either that or possibly Acharnians." Sam's ship landed on the beach planet, with lights burning orange sky, with purple grasses. Sam, Freud, Lindell and Lee walked out of Sam's ship. Sam got his anti-time device ready. Freud, Lee and Lindell have got their blasters ready. They walked down the sand. Daleks, Cybermen and Stormtroopers showed up. Sam and his friends fire their guns at the enemies. The battle goes on, and there's flying lasers everywhere and explosions. Lindell shoots laser from the gun attached to his wrist as fast as he can. Suddenly, Ghostface came and he picked a Stormtrooper blaster and shot Lindell in the chest, so he fell. Sam, Lee and Freud looked in horror. Sam rushed up to him and said, "Lindell, speak to me. You're going to be okay. Lee, help!" Lindell was breathing heavily. His mouth trembled with the effort to form words and said, "You must stop all the portals, Sam Birkinshaw." And then, with a small shudder from Lindell, the Ice Warrior became still and his eyes closed. Sam shouted, "Lindell! Lindell!" He was grieving over his body. Lee said, "Sam, I'm so sorry. Ghostface is here." So Sam angrily stood up. Ghostface was followed by Grand Pent, Davros, Supreme Dalek, and Cyber Leader. They stopped to stare at Sam, who's pointing his anti-time device. A jet of black laser fires from Ghostface's hand, just as a jet of red laser blasted from Sam's anti-time device. They met in mid-air, so then anti-time device was vibrating, as though an electric charge was surging through it. His hand seized up around it. He couldn't have released it if he'd wanted to, and a narrow beam of light connected Sam's anti-time device and Ghostface's hand, neither red or black, but bright, deep gold. Rowan, Batman, Wildstyle, Gandalf, Blop, Anguirus, Frizz, Crispin, and Darlus are still facing a lot of Cybermen and Daleks in Newcastle. Rowan shouted, "There's too many of them. There's not enough of us to stop them." Batman agrees. Wildstyle asks, "What do we do?" Rowan said, "We have to retreat." While Cyber King and Cybermen are attacking London, Professor Shawson, Repti, Neil, Cypher and Holly runs away. In Armstrong Industries, Dan, Callie, Oscar and Ricky have barricaded the door to keep the army of enemies outside, but the door doesn't look like it's going to keep them out for long. At Holy Island, Skellingman took cover behind the house, while Zarbus, Dr. Centrix, Disay and his parents are still fighting with Mordor orcs, Nindroids, flying monkeys, Cybermen, Daleks, Stormtroopers and sentry turrets. The place is covered in fire. On the orange planet, known as Glanton, Sam and Ghostface are still dueling. After a while, the duel stopped, and loads of Cybermen, Daleks, Stormtroopers, Mordor Orcs, Nindroids, Flying Monkeys, and Sentry Turrets approached. Ghostface ordered, "Drop your weapons." "I said, drop them." Sam turned around and nodded his head at Lee and Freud, hinting that they should do as Ghostface says. There's nothing he can do. So they did. Stormtroopers picked up anti-tank device and 2 blasters. Ghostface said, "I will, soon, take your ship, but first, you and I have a score to settle, Sam Birkinshaw," much to Sam's horror. To be continued.